then the game got away from us. But, it really happened there with the second chance points in the first half and 23-4 points off turnovers. Our guard play, just not moving the ball well enough and just had really bad turnovers.
Well, what would you attribute those turnovers to? Was there a through line in that?
Oh, Nebraska's activity is really good. Defensively, they're really solid. Sam, was just really active. I think he had 5 steals the first half. I don't know what he ended up with, but, his activity defensively, just changes the game. And, he really is active. But like I said, our guard play, way out of his, league there, just handling the ball. He's not used to playing in the States and, without Jackson to settle him down and help him a little bit. We just 16 turnovers for 23 points, and a 19-point difference there takes you out of the game. And then, like I said, I think it was 11-0 or 11-2 at half on second chance points. So, we were bad right there.
Thanks, Coach.
All righty.
Hey, Dan, I can ask you one more. Just, can you speak to what you're seeing out there right now, considering 2 decades of playing this team in a different era?
Yeah, no, they're really good. They're really connected offensively and defensively. Defensively, really impressed. I think Ken Palm has them like 15th analytically. And I think that's a big difference from some of their previous teams. And I think it's something that'll carry them when we've had some success, either in the season or in the tournament. Defense is such a big part of it because you're not going to shoot it well every night. And so I think their defensive activity, is really good. And I think that's going to keep them in a lot of ball games. And, I think, they're going to hate to jinx them, but, I think they're going to get the monkey off their back. And it's hard to tell from our performance tonight, but I think they're going to be really good. And, we have had some runs. It's an embarrassment for a program that's been to 5 Sweet 16s, a couple Elite Eights, and a Final Four to have a performance like that. I'm embarrassed for our program. I'm sure our fans are going to have a lot of things to say about that one. But, Jackson out. Nate twisted his ankle there in the first half, and he was – those are 2 guys we depend on. But that's an excuse. We got our ass kicked, and they played harder than we did. They out-rebounded us, out-fought us at every turn. Our recognition for, 2 guys go 7 for 11 from 3 at some point in time, you might recognize that they're shooting it pretty good and guard them. So very disappointed in my ball team. We got a tough stretch coming up with Michigan State, Washington on the road, UCLA. So it's not going to get any easier for us. Hopefully Jackson will get back here and play, but we're really struggling, and we're going to be tested here. And adversity, you kind of judge when adversity calls, and we've got some adversity calling. So, anybody else? All right.
Flip the switch. What did you see out there that kind of turned the game?
Yeah, we started to be more physical defensively, I think, and then we were really getting buckets in transition. We were getting the ball up the court quick, and thought our offensive flow really started to get into a groove.
You guys had a pretty specific game plan going in about controlling the offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And attacking the paint, not doing bad shots. It just seems like the game plan was kind of executed
Yeah,
perfection.
yeah, absolutely. You know, at halftime, I think they had 0 offensive rebounds. Is that right? Yeah. So great job in the first half. You know, coming out, executing the game plan, and you know, getting in there and playing off too was an emphasis at half. You know, I had a couple drives in there where I just fumbled the ball, but you know, we got into that in the second half. So.
For you, how much of a conscious effort was it tonight to push the pace and get out and transition the way you did?
Got it.
Wait, ask a question again. My fault.
How much of a conscious effort was it for you guys to get out and transition and push the pace the way you did tonight?
I mean, we kind of knew we could attack that, and we were getting easy, open looks in transition, so we just kept attacking that. And Jamarcus obviously was the head of that, bringing it up with pace, and he just opened up a lot of things when we ran up the court.
How much of a tone setter was just the 5 steals Sam had in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, we all know Sam. Like, you know, he's going to bring that every game. So, you know, he's just a pest out there, and he really gets us going. And you know, those steals for him, it wasn't just Jamar. It was Sam too. You know, getting those steals, pushing it up. You know, he was finding me when I was getting going. So, yeah, he was huge tonight.
When you're feeling it like you are tonight, at what point do you get the confidence to step into some shots that, you know, maybe you wouldn't take if you weren't as hot as you are? When do you kind of hit that threshold?
Yeah, you know, Coach Hoiberg, he talks to me about it sometimes. You know, with shot selection. You know, if I'm feeling it, you know, he'll stop it in film, and you know, he'll tell me, you know, maybe drive this one if I hadn't hit a couple before that. But yeah, once I hit a couple, you know, I really start to hunt it, and you know, the hoop kind of turns in the ocean. So.
You said before the season you wanted to catch a body here. Was that about what you were expecting it to be like?
It was a great dog. You see him run down the floor?
That's what they were most proud about. That I got back, act like I've been there before. So, because I have.
Thanks, guys.
You guys.
Pretty specific things you wanted to check. And look at the final box score, seems like that was executed to perfection. And you're pretty, I'm assuming, pleased with the way that the plan was executed.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for us was competing with them on the glass. That's a top 25 offensive rebounding team, and we held them to 0 in the first half. And I told the guys in the locker room, it's, you know, the power of finishing a half the right way and getting the momentum. I give Oregon a lot of credit for the way they came out, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, 28-28. With about 3 minutes to go, and then we end up with a double-digit lead going into halftime. And then I was really proud of how the guys responded coming out and throwing the first punch, and then really keeping our foot on the gas for the entire 20 minutes in the second. And, you know, listen, the travel that Oregon has had this last week is crazy, you know, to play west or on the East Coast and then fly back for one game and then come back to the, you know, it's – I give these guys a lot of credit for the way that they came out of the gate, and you know, Dana's one of the best to ever do it, and you know, they're gonna figure it out and hopefully be home and get some rest. But you know, I'm proud of our guys. They really did. We talked about that before the game. If we win the glass, we're gonna have a really good chance to win the game, and that's what happened.
How much did the defensive activity you think kind of make up for the size you were giving up against?
Yeah, they started big, and a lot of times Sam got switched off onto a 6'10" guy, but I really thought he battled down there and was all over the place. I think he had 5 steals at halftime. And, you know, you look at our numbers, I love the 20 assists, 6 turnovers, the 11 steals, you know, scoring 24 points off of turnovers. I just thought we did a lot of really good things out there tonight. And the thing I'm most proud of is, you know, at times we've gotten a lead and then allowed a team to come back. We just kept extending it. I told Frager in the first half, I said, shoot the damn ball. He had a couple, I thought, wide open that he just drove into a crowd and drove into a pile. And it was good to see him get it going. You know, Price, obviously, it's fun to watch him. We've got different actions based on where he is on the floor at all different spots. And our guys did a really good job finding him. They screened well. And then it was good to see Braden, you know, get it going again as well to extend that lead up into the 30s.
After the under 4, but maybe finish the first half under 14-2 run when it's tighter.
Yeah, I mean, I think more than that, Mike, it was just we found the right guy, and it was Price. He got us going. You know, Rink, obviously in foul trouble, our all-league player, And, for us to be there and extend it the way we did, I think is a testament for the depth of this team and the unselfishness, the character to be able to go out there and continue to compete without the guy that we run our entire system through. I thought Jamarcus's pace was outstanding. I was really pleased with our transition game today. I thought we got the ball up the floor. Even after a couple of Oregon makes, Jamarcus hits Price throwing it up the floor for a three, and then he gets the answer back coast-to-coast layup. Those are huge. And, we were struggling to score there for a little bit, but that really what got us going again was Jamarcus's pace.
What do you feel is just most impressive with this team's ability to, I guess, win against different styles of opponents? And obviously, I've talked about the size of Oregon and to win in that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, Justin, is, for this particular game, we had to rebound. We had to bring our hard hat. We had to bring our lunch pail. We had to go out and compete with this team on the glass. That's what they do, and that's the reason that I'm sure Dana started that lineup was to beat us up a little bit out there. But I thought our guys responded. I thought, we talked about making first contact on the blockouts. You have to find a way to neutralize the length and athleticism. If you don't, it's going to be a long night. And the other thing about it, if you take care of it early, that they don't go as hard a lot of times. If they get a little rhythm going to the offensive glass, now they're off and running. So, for our guys to do a good job early in that game of establishing the boards, I thought was as key as anything tonight.
It's been 10 days or so since you've been here, and to have the students back tonight, what's just the feeling of playing in this gym with this environment now and being a top 10 team and the thought that you get to do that several more times over the next
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, we're pretty much sold out the rest of the year. I think there might be a few tickets left for one or two of the games, but that's our guys deserve it, and we appreciate the support more than I think anybody realizes. You hear it early in the introductions, the Husker Power chant, and it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference for us. If we're going through a lull, we need them to help pick us up at times. And, my message was the same to our guys. Are you satisfied? Not one person in there said they are. So now we go back in the road, and we're all we got. And then, get another opportunity to be back in here next Wednesday. But, it's been incredible. Our fans, have been a huge factor in the start that we've had so far this year.
Oregon head coach, Coach, the Oregon head coach said you guys took it, but the Wisconsin head coach said the same thing. How much credit are you giving to your scout where you're able to put these teams that are very high-powered out of sync, where you're able to really pound on them throughout the game?
Yeah, I thought we kept after it, and we weren't in a great rhythm, kind of the middle portion of that first half, and we got off to a good start. I thought we were trading baskets a little bit early, then we got a little sluggish, and then we finished off the half in a great way. And like I said, the thing that I'm most proud and happy with this game is how our guys just really kept their foot on the gas. We haven't been great in that area. And, maybe it's why we are where we are with the net, because we didn't pound teams the way we were supposed to, which I still don't love, but it is what it is. And today, I thought for the first time we just continued to push and keep our pace and find the right guys and finished it. It was, that last 20 minutes was a lot of fun, and everybody contributed. It's great to get those other guys some minutes out there. They deserve it. They work as hard as anybody.
Braden's confidence has never been an issue, but over the last 60 or 3 halves or so, it seems like he's playing some of his best basketball and just kind of taking a step with that confidence. Have you seen maybe a bit of an evolution over the last couple with him, just becoming a more confident type player and doing it the right way?
Yeah, I've talked to him the last couple of days. He was fighting his shot a little bit, and when he's in practice, the rhythm that he shoots it with, he's been just a little hesitant. And that's what I was talking about in those couple shots in the first half that he had, and he turned them down. And then second half, it was just great to see him rise up. I need him to be a great catch and shoot player, and he was that today. And then when he had to close out to attack, he did it, and he went in there and finished with authority. So you've seen, I think, a little bit of both of that, but that's the versatility of Braden's game, and I'm really happy for him.
How much of a conscious effort was it to get out in transition and push the pace tonight?
We always talk about playing with pace, but playing with smart pace, and I thought we did that tonight. Jamarcus, we didn't force it. Played in a crowd a little bit in the first half, but overall I thought our pace was smart and it was really good. I got to go, guys. Thanks.